Hi friends, this is part 3 of a series of videos on GST brought to you by Officers IAS Academy, Chennai. There is a lot of concern among small traders about the compliance of GST. Should we buy a computer now? Should we have a separate accountant for that? How will I bear this additional expenditure? For you should remember that the government has brought about a composition scheme for all small traders. Whom does this apply? For every trader who has a turnover less than 75 lakhs, you will fall under the composition scheme. Let us quickly go through the slides and see what are the benefits that you could avail. Government has allowed for composition scheme, a scheme which is easy to comply for small traders. So your return filing is made easier and tax calculation is also made easier under the composition scheme. Isn't it interesting? Let's quickly get into the conditions. If you're from the northeastern states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Sikkim, or from the state of Himachal Pradesh and operating a business, so here is your turnover limit. If you have a turnover up to 50 lakhs, then you can register under the composition scheme. For the rest of the India, the limit is 75 lakhs. Remember, aggregate turnover will be calculated on an all India basis for the same time. But GST under composition scheme is not available for the following: tobacco and its substitutes, pan masala, ice creams, anybody who is an interstate supplier and supplier of non-GST goods like petrol, diesel or alcohol, and also supplier of services except restaurants. Now, what is the rate of composition? For traders, just 1%, manufacturers 2%, restaurants 5%. So how do we calculate the tax? So suppose you have an aggregate turnover of 40 lakhs for a particular year, you will have to pay tax under 1% of 40 lakhs, which is 40,000 rupees. For manufacturers, it's going to be 2% and restaurants, it's 5%. So which means you need not calculate tax on each of your bills. You have to just calculate your total turnover, apply either of the percentage on the turnover according to the category you fall in, and pay the government a lump sum amount on your aggregate turnover. Quite simple, isn't it? Sure. Now you should definitely see the benefits of the composition scheme. You need not file returns every month. You will have to file returns only once in a quarter, that is the 18th of the month following the end of the quarter. You shall furnish only details of total turnover to the department. Invoice details are not needed. Rather, bill of supply will be sufficient. Now, what is the difference between an invoice and a bill of supply? Invoice will have details about the rate of tax charged on each product in the bill and also the HSC code. Both of them are not required in the bill of supply. You can just tell the aggregate value of the product that you've sold and that will be sufficient. Coming to the next one, the most important. No input tax credit will be available to you if you are a dealer under the composition scheme. Let's look at how do you register yourself as a composition dealer. If you're going for fresh registration, which means you have never before been taxed or you've never before registered under tax department in the previous regime. So what you have to do? You have to just fill your option for composition scheme in form GST Reg 01. That is part B of the enrollment process on gstgov.in. If you've been an existing taxpayer and you've migrated from central excise or VAT, you have to intimate about your option to choose composition scheme in form CMP01 and also declare your stock in CMP03. Remember, if you are a dealer under the composition scheme, you will have to display it on every notice and signboard which is there at your principal place of business and every additional place of business. Plus, every bill of supply which you issue will have to have your name followed by the words composition taxable person under GST. That's it. So now you're GST compliant even if you have a small turnover without having an accountant and even without filing your monthly returns. Isn't it so simple? I think now you should believe GST is indeed a good and simple tax. Once again, my humble request to all educated Indians and computer literates, please help the small traders nearby to understand about composition scheme and also let them know how easy GST compliance could be. Thank you.